What is a thing? To extend the philosopher Martin Heidegger's considerations, we use the example of a mug to explain what makes a thing a thing. The mug, as we use it, is an object. It is made of a material, ceramic, and it has a form for a function. But are these the qualities that define the mug as a thing? Heidegger argues that the qualities originate from a fundamental thingness, and that the mug's thingness is actually the void inside it. The ceramic shapes the void, which in turn shapes the mug. The mug's basic function is to hold. We become aware of this function only when we fill the mug. Once filled, it appears at the bottom and the sides, and the material are doing the holding. If we are to continue to follow Heidegger, this is a fallacy. When you fill the mug with water, you are not pouring it into the bottom, the walls, or the material. You are pouring the water over the bottom and in between the walls. Therefore, it is the emptiness, or the void, that is holding the water. The true function of the mug is to act as an empty space. The void is where the thingness actually lies.
We must further consider the implications of this essential thingness into the domain of literature. While we now can examine the material being of a mug, how can we extend our literary interactions? First, one must refer to an essential installment of the academic journal Critical Inquiry and the subsequent monograph entitled A Sense of Things, both products of the English professor Phil Brown. Socially, thing theory reveals our relationship with the inanimate world. When the pencil breaks, its encoded function disappears, leaving us to engage with its newly regarded thingness. We begin to see how the material world shapes individuals. Thing theory helps us to decipher the symbology and power of objects within a text. Furthermore, the human-object relations throughout a work become the main focus under this lens.
Analyzing literature under the thing theory allows for individuals to establish a close reading of works in collaboration with the objects which inhabit the text. A person's accumulation of objects in a text is more than a product of a shrewd capitalist display. It is the exploration of oneself through the inanimate. Connections made via thing theory are exclusive to this literary lens. As a reader, the construction of a person becomes available in the objects they so oft interact with. Taking note from John Plotz, we must recognize that thing theory is not an exploration of the cultural significance of objects. This is not an approach to appraisal. We should use thing theory to examine the margins of language, cognition, and materials. It is best applied when the things start to seem out of the bounds of reason. Let us now consider a text to apply such a lens.
It is necessary to consider the timeline of thing theory. It lies in a much more recent historical position than many other literary theories covered in an academic setting. Thing theory is open to a variety of interpretations, depending on if you are using it in a social context, a metaphysical context, or to analyze literature. When analyzing Maus, we implemented John Plotz's aforementioned interpretation of margins. Throughout Maus, we found that all of the illustrations not enclosed by a panel seemed to be the most evident of escaping the reader's bounds of reason.
This is not without intention. The negative spaces serve to represent the things which stray from representation. For example, Vladek speaks of familial deaths, yet he and Anya lived. The narrative continues to dictate tales of hangings and genocidal atrocities. How does one approach such atrocities unknown to most humans? It is through thing theory that we can acknowledge Spiegelman's engagement with the marginalizations of human relations, specifically in the space surrounding the panels. We can use the restrictions of thing theory to benefit our reading of Vladek through an examination of physical relationships between the things of the page. We have now circled back to Heidegger and the construction of objects through voids, a reading unavailable through other literary theories.